Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to my peeps wherever you are in the world. This is your boy X-Man 1991 signing on. Happy Saturday, YouTube fam. Can't believe it's been 8 years since Charlie Murphy died from leukemia. Wow, man, Charlie Murphy was definitely funny. One of the most underrated comedians. Eddie Murphy does a great impersonation of Charlie Murphy. Man, Charlie Murphy's definitely one of the greatest, and he's still missed 8 years later. Man. But anyway, it's time for me to reveal another list. Today I'm going to reveal my top 20 Nickelodeon shows from the 2000s. Hope you all enjoyed my top 20 Nickelodeon shows from the 90s video. And just to clarify, there's one mistake that I did make in my top 20 Nickelodeon shows of the 90s. Megan Good played the role of Nina on Cousin Skeeter, not Nia Long. So if I said Nia Long, I apologize for that mistake. Megan Good played the role of Nina on Cousin Skeeter. So just like the 90s, Nickelodeon definitely has a lot of shows in the 2000s. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. You know how these things go. So this is my list of all the Nickelodeon shows that I have from the 2000s. So do not bitch and complain about I have this show ranked too high or ranked too low. It's my list. If you have your own list of Nickelodeon shows from the 2000s, just put it in the comments. Honorable mentions goes to The Adventures of Manny Rivera, Back of the Barnyard, Tak and the Power of Juju, Judge Jordan, Drew Jackson VP, and Cat Scratch. Those are my honorable mentions. Now let's get to the actual list. Number 20, The Nick Cannon Show. This show is basically about Nick Cannon finding a situation of things that need change, so he decides to take over things to make it funnier or better. Every episode of the show has a title that says Nick takes over, except for the last episode. Like Nick takes over Hollywood, Nick takes over the mall, Nick takes over Nickelodeon, Nick takes over the beach, Nick takes over your family, Nick takes over music, Nick takes over Hawaii, Nick takes over a hospital. Even though this show was a spinoff to all that, thank goodness that sick bastard Dan Schneider had nothing to do with this show. It aired part of Nickelodeon's Saturday Night Block's Snick. And the theme song still slaps almost 25 years later. Ain't no party like a Nick Cannon party, because a Nick Cannon party don't stop. After the success of the first season, it was renewed for a second season. Due to the production and crew changing in the second season, the show suffered low ratings and was canceled in February 2003, lasting for 2 seasons and 27 episodes. Since its conclusion, it has not rebroadcast on Nickelodeon or any of its sister networks. Last time it was seen on TV was June 14, 2003 on Nickelodeon, and has not been seen on TV since. The show is currently available to stream on Prime Video. But yeah, the Nick Cannon show wasn't too bad. It was definitely a great show. I know some people makes their top 20 Nickelodeon shows of the 2000s. I doubt they would put the Nick Cannon show on there. But it's definitely on my list for sure. Number 19, Taina. Another Nickelodeon show that featured a black cast. The first season was taped in Orlando Studios, Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando, Florida, while the second season was filmed on Nickelodeon on Sunset. The show definitely received high ratings. But Nickelodeon did this show dirty. This show only lasted for 2 seasons as well, and 26 episodes. From January 14, 2001 to May 11, 2002. Of course, the theme song was written and performed by Christina Vidal, who plays the role of Taina. I feel like UPN or the WB should have picked the show up after Nickelodeon canceled it. But Taina was still a great show, but Nickelodeon did it dirty. Unfreaking believable. Damn you, Nickelodeon, for canceling this underrated show. Number 18, Action League Now, the series. After Kablam ended, Action League Now was spin off into his own series. We have our main characters, the Flesh. He's super strong and super naked. Thunder Girl, she flies like thunder. Stinky Diver, a former Navy commando with an attitude as bad as his odor. And Melt Man, with the power to melt. Their mission is to stop the mayor from taking over the world. Action League Now ran from October 14, 1995 to February 10, 2002. In 2001, after Kablam ended in 2000, it was spin off into his own series. Definitely like Action League Now. It lasted for 4 seasons on Kablam and one as a full series. But Action League Now, it was still a great show. Number 17, Pelswick. This show is based on a comic book of the same name by John Callahan. Pelswick ran for 2 seasons as well and 26 episodes. From October 5th, 2000 to November 15, 2002. Pelswick is another underrated show. The show reran on Nick on CBS from September 14th to November 23rd, 2002, and on Nicktoons from May 2002 to early 2005. The show is currently available to stream on Tubi. Anyway, Pelswick, it was still a great show. Number 16, Zoe 101. This show settles Zoe in her new boarding school in Malibu and makes a wide range of new friends. This show ran for 4 seasons and 61 episodes from January 9th, 2005 to May 2nd, 2008. The theme song was, of course, written and performed by Jamie Lynn Spears. And no, her pregnancy had nothing to do with the cancellation of the show. Why the hell do people keep saying that Jamie Lynn Spears' pregnancy has something to do with the show being canceled? I don't get that. Years after the show ended, they came up with a movie on Paramount Plus, Zoe 102. I like Zoe 101, but because how much of a sick bastard Dan Schneider is, I no longer watch the show. Any show created by Dan Schneider, I no longer watch them. But it was nice to see Jamie Lynn Spears have her own sitcom after she left all that. Kyle Massey's brother Chris Massey was on this show too. and of course Victoria Justice before she was on Victorious. Number 15, Jimmy Neutron. We all know the show Jimmy Neutron is based on the movie. If you are new to my channel or not, you know I was a diehard Jimmy Neutron fan as a kid. Jimmy Neutron is definitely one of those underrated Nicktoons of the 2000s. It ran from July 20th, 2002 to November 25th, 2006 with 3 seasons and 61 episodes. I used to watch the hell out of Jimmy Neutron back in the day. And then years later, Sheen had his own spin-off show called Planet Sheen. I need to go back and watch more Jimmy Neutron. I haven't seen this show in years. Number 14, this show premiered 12 years ago today, All Grown Up. We all know this show, All Grown Up, is based on the Rugrats 10th anniversary special and a spin-off to Rugrats, where all the Rugrats babies um, went from being little babies to preteens. All Grown Up ran for 5 seasons and 55 episodes from April 12, 2003 to August 17, 2008. I understand a lot of people did not like this show because it said it fucked up Rugrats, but to me, All Grown Up wasn't too bad. And of course, Cree Summer wrote and performed the theme song to the show. But I actually like All Grown Up. It wasn't that bad. It's better than the half-ass Nickelodeon shows we have now. But I definitely enjoyed that show despite some people didn't even like it. They thought the 10th anniversary special was enough. But they decided to make a whole series to it. But All Grown Up to me wasn't that bad. I actually enjoyed it. Number 13, Romeo. Who never knew that Romeo Miller would get his own sitcom before Bow Wow? I feel like Bow Weezy should have got his own sitcom before Romeo because Bow Wow was bigger than Romeo back in the 2000s. But they decided to let Romeo have his own sitcom first. It was about Romeo Miller playing a fictional version of himself. He is the leader of his band, The Pieces of the Puzzle, along with his adopted brother Louis, his little brother Gary, and his big sister Jody. Romeo ran for 3 seasons and 53 episodes from September 13, 2003 to July 23, 2006. Reruns continued to air on Nickelodeon until October 4, 2007, and BET and Teen Nick back when it was called The N until Kwanzaa 2008. Romeo, it was definitely a good show nonetheless. But one thing I did not like about the show, they pretty much added the laugh track only for the first season. I'm glad they didn't add the laugh track for the last 2 seasons. But the acting is kind of bad on this show, looking back on it 12 years later. The acting was kind of bad. I always thought Romeo and Master P cannot act. But I do like the theme song, though. The theme song still slaps. This was another Nickelodeon sitcom that featured a black cast. So if you have not seen The Romeo Show or never heard of it, the entire series is on YouTube, and I recommend y'all checking it out. Number 12, The Brothers Garcia. This explodes three brothers growing up in San Antonio. Yeah, this show I believe is turning 25 this year. It ran on Nickelodeon for 4 seasons and 52 episodes from August 8th to July 23rd, 2000 to August 8th, 2004. Man, this show, The Brothers Garcia, was a funny show nonetheless. It was definitely a good show. I definitely enjoyed this show nonetheless. They actually made a reboot to the show called The Garcias on HBO Max. Thank you, Jeff Valdez, for creating this amazing show. Number 11, iCarly. I know it was tough for me to put iCarly out of the top 10. So after Drake and Josh ended, they decided to give Miranda Cosgrove her own sitcom, which is iCarly. I mean, this show tells the story of Carly Shay, a teenager who creates and hosts her own webcast called iCarly, along with her friends Sam and Freddie. And she lives in an apartment with her older brother Spencer. iCarly ran for 6 seasons and 997 episodes, almost 100, from September 8, 2007 to November 23rd, 2012. Then they rebooted the show in 2021 on Paramount Plus. Yeah, it was definitely a great show, iCarly. I just wish they didn't add a laugh track to the show. It would have been much better if they did not add a laugh track. But it sucks that I did not put the show in my top 10. I should have put it in my top 10, to be honest. But at least I have it close to the top 10. Now it's time for my top 10 Nickelodeon shows of the 2000s. Starting at number 10, The Fairly Odd Parents. This follows a 10-year-old boy named Timmy Turner who has two fairy godparents, Cosmo and Wanda, who grants him wishes to solve his everyday problems. This show was created by none other than the legend himself, Butch Hartman. This show ran for 10 seasons and 172 episodes from March 30th, 2001 to September 16th, 2018, or July 26, 2017. The Fairly Odd Parents is the second longest running Nicktoon right behind SpongeBob. I liked The Fairly Odd Parents during its first few seasons from '01 to '06, but I feel like it kind of fell off when it came back from a 2-year hiatus. Yeah, after the first 5 seasons, it was revived in 2008, but I feel like it fell off after the 5th season. And of course, the show is based on the short from Oh Yeah Cartoons before it was greenlighted to an actual series. But yeah, I like The Fairly Odd Parents, but I like the first 5 seasons better than the other seasons. Anyway, number 9, As Told by Ginger. This follows a girl named Ginger Foutley with her friends try to become more than a social geek in junior high and later high school. The first two seasons aired on Nickelodeon from October 25th, 2000 to Independence Day 2004. Then the third season aired on Nicktoons from November 24th, 2004 to November 14th, 2006. As to My Ginger is definitely one of the most underrated Nicktoons of the 2000s. Macy Gray, we all know, wrote and performed the theme song, which still slaps 25 years later. Number 8, Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. This show is definitely one of the last good sitcoms to exist on Nickelodeon. It premiered part of the Teen Nick block on Sunday, September 12, 2004, and ran until June 8, 2007, with 3 seasons and 54 episodes and one TV movie. This show was created by Scott Fellows, who was the head writer of Johnny Test and creator of The Fairly Odd Parents. No, he was the head writer of The Fairly Odd Parents and creator of Johnny Test. I definitely enjoyed this show, Ned's Declassified. It was one of the last good sitcoms to exist on Nickelodeon. Matter of fact, this was one of the 3 sitcoms that premiered on Nickelodeon in 2004. This show and the next 2 shows I'm about to mention. Unfabulous is my number 7. Just like Ned's Declassified, this show also premiered on Sunday, September 12, 2004, part of the Teen Nick block, and ran until December 16, 2007. This show was created by Sue Rose, who's also known for creating Pepper Ann and Angela Anaconda. The theme song was written and performed. I was going to say Emma Roberts performed the theme song, but no. Emma Roberts, to me, was the perfect role as Addie in this show. I feel like Unfabulous doesn't get talked about much, which is why I have it in my top 10. This show definitely needs to be streamed on Paramount Plus, because I definitely missed this show. And the theme song still slaps, nonetheless. Number 6, Drake and Josh, another Nickelodeon sitcom that premiered in the year 2004. This show centers around 2 stepbrothers named Drake Parker and Josh Nichols. And of course, this was a spinoff to The Amanda Show. After The Amanda Show ended in 2002, they decided to let Drake Bell and Josh Peck have their own sitcom. The show ran for 4 seasons from January 11, 2004 to September 16, 2007. Of course, with 2 TV movies. One of them was the Christmas movie, Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh. To me, I always look up to Drake and Josh as the white version of Kenan and Kel. My favorite episode of Drake and Josh is, of course, Season 2, Episode 1, The Bet. It's the one where Drake bets that he can give up junk food more than Josh can give up video games. And if one of them loses, one of them has to dye their hair pink. It reminds me of my favorite episode of Kenan and Kel, where Kel bet that he can go 1 week without drinking orange soda. If he or Kenan lose, one of them has to stand on top. One of them has to sing the national anthem in front of all the Wrigley's customers wearing the lady's nightgown. That's what that episode of Drake and Josh reminds me of. I love Drake and Josh, but because of a sick bastard Dan Schneider is, I no longer watch the show. But it's good to know that Drake and Bell and Josh Peck are good friends to this day. Now it's time for my top 5 Nickelodeon shows of the 2000s. Starting at number 5, I have Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Unpopular opinion, I'm not actually a fan of Avatar, but anybody that's an Avatar fan, I know you guys are happy that I got this show in my top 5. This show ran for 3 seasons from February 2005 to July 2008, and it also won 5 Emmy Awards. It won a Genesis Award, and it won a Primetime Emmy Award, and a Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Award, and it won a Peabody Award. But Avatar is still a great show, without a doubt, even though I'm not a huge fan of it. And definitely had a great cast, too. Jack DeSena, who was on the last 4 seasons of All That, was on this show. And of course, Mae Whitman was on the show. D. Bradley Baker was on the show. And of course, Gray DeLisle Griffin was on the show. And of course, Mark Hamill, Mr. Joker, was on the show too. Great show, great cast, and I'm happy it did win 5 Annie Awards. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Avatar, I'm happy to put it in my top 5. Number 4, Chalk Zone. This show is about a young student named Rudy Tabuti, and like any other student at elementary school, but he has a special gift. He can draw portals with a magic chalk and use portals to enter new worlds. Chalk Zone ran for 4 seasons and 40 episodes from March 22nd, 2002 to August 23rd, 2008. Chalk Zone is definitely one of the most underrated Nicktoons of the 2000s. The show was produced by the same company that produced The Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom. Oh no, just The Fairly Odd Parents. And the theme song still slaps too. And I also like the music videos before an episode comes to an end. It was definitely a great show. Chalk Zone is definitely underrated. Number 3, Invader Zim. Why did I put Invader Zim so high? Because Nickelodeon damn sure did this show dirty too. The show premiered the same day The Fairly Odd Parents did, on my cousin's 3rd birthday, Friday, March 30th, 2001. Part of the block Friday Night Nicktoons. The first season aired on Nickelodeon, while the second season aired on Nicktoons, back when it was Nicktoons Network. The show did receive positive reviews, even though Nickelodeon did this show dirty. At least it won 2 Annie Awards, and it won an Emmy Award. But yeah, Invader Zim is without a doubt one of my favorite Nicktoons of the 2000s. It was still a great show, even though it didn't last long. I feel like it should have ran for more seasons instead of 2. But I'm happy to have it in my top three, just like I did in my top of 10 Nickelodeon Nicktoons of the 2000s. Number two, My Life as a Teenage Robot. My Life as a Teenage Robot is based on the short from the Oh Yeah cartoons titled My Neighbor Was a Teenage Robot. This centers around a robot named XJ9, or Jenny Wakeman as she prefers to be called, who attempts to juggle her duties of protecting Earth while trying to be a normal human life as a teenage girl. This show ran for 3 seasons and 40 episodes. It ran on Nickelodeon from August 1st, 2003 to September 9th, 2005, and it ran on Nicktoons from October 4th, 2008 to May 2nd, 2009. The reason why the show was canceled is because they said that the ratings weren't good enough for them to give more episodes. That's the reason why they canceled the show. And they said the third season would be the last. Wow. Unbelievable. My Life as a Teenage Robot was another show that aired part of the Teen Nick block on Sunday nights. And it briefly aired on the Friday Night Nicktoons block. And the theme song still slaps too. It's a pretty good show. And I think you all know which Nickelodeon show from the 2000s is my number one. None other than Danny Phantom. After the success of the Fairly Odd Parents, Butch Hartman was asked to make another Nicktoon for Nickelodeon, which was Danny Phantom. We all know the show was about a boy named Danny Phantom who was just 14 when his parents built a very strange machine. And you know the rest. Running for 3 seasons and 53 episodes from April 3rd, 2004, it premiered after the 2004 Kids' Choice Awards and ran until August 24, 2007. Danny Phantom, without a doubt, is the best